Previously on The Greatest Estate Developer, our hero shattered the city's skyward towers, outwitted the corrupt system, survived a deadly betrayal, and faced an endless war of steel and fire. And now, the story continues. Lloyd storms onto the reclaimed plot, banners snapping in the wind as the Viscount's troops already crushed the frontier. He plants the flag at the wetland's edge, shouting his men to brace the line. The rival force freezes, eyes darting between the banner and the fertile mire. Ancient claim lines flicker into view, hinting at a hidden right. The kingdom's ledgers declare the northern marshes belong to Viscount Laconia, while the southern swamps fall under Baron Frontera's domain. For centuries no foot has tread the soggy reeds, yet parchment now splits the same earth. This bureaucratic fracture ignites a simmering feud. Both camps sharpen their claims, readying for war. With a flourish, Lloyd unrolls a weather-worn parchment. He points to the Scan Land Act, reading its title and clause aloud. This law grants ownership to any who develop long-abandoned barren land, he intones.
Land Act of the Kingdom. Title special exemption regarding development of barren land. Wait a minute. You just clause aim. The aim of the law regards the development of long-standing barren land and the establishment of ownership of the reclaimed land.
The Viscount sharpens his quill, ready to counter. The lull rings out like a battle cry. Lloyd declares that barren land is defined as unused for a century, and that any developer meeting the criteria claims it outright. The Viscount snatches the parcel from mid-air, eyes flashing with greed. Lloyd lunges forward, his crew holding their breath. The seal remains intact as the package thuds onto the mud. Everyone leans in, wondering what power lies within. Lloyd tears it open, revealing a royal decree that could tilt the balance. Lloyd scoffs at the Viscount's whispered prophecy, branding it nonsense. He calls the noble's interference a leech, stealing his hard-won labor. The crowd roars, their anger fueling Lloyd's claim and cementing his dominance over the reclaimed soil.
Did you hear a prophecy? A prophecy, PFFT. First time I deal with leeches stealing my hard work.
The crowd erupts, demanding his next decisive step.
The camera sweeps across the wetland. Reeds sway, gray skies reflect on stagnant water. Workers spread tarps, marking sections for drainage. Lloyd watches, noting how the terrain responds, recording data for a report he will deliver to the Viscount. Soon the sealed gift arrives, forcing a showdown. Lloyd earns recognition for his engineering feat. Skill points surge. His surveying ability jumps 2 levels, and land cost approval skyrockets. The reward cements his reputation as a top engineer. Yet the Viscount's migration plan now threatens his next project. Lloyd checks his approval ratings. The Baron, Baroness, Javier, Bayern, and the townsfolk all boost his support, pushing his reputation to points.
A throbbing pain blooms in Lloyd's head, a relentless migraine that threatens to cripple his focus. He wonders if endless toil finally catches up to him, but he forces himself onward, knowing any delay jeopardizes the cultivation deadline. He must finish the survey before nightfall. Refusing to linger in bed, Lloyd rises, shouting for his assistant Javier. "Hey, Javier, get up. We have work to do." Their coordinated sprint kickstarts the day's field survey at sunrise, each step a race against time.
Hey, Javier, get up. I'm heading into work.
Their first field survey begins at sunrise. A colleague notices Lloyd's drained expression and asks if he's as exhausted as the rest. Lloyd Frontera slams his fist into the reclaimed Maritza soil, declares the Scan Land Act his right, and commands his giant hamster-tamed crew to unleash a plow that forces the first wheat stalk skyward. Jealousy ignites into fierce resolve within Lloyd, while exhaustion and a crushing headache gnaw at his mind, threatening his sanity and the fragile claim he fights to protect. With wheat barely breaking ground, rivals eye the wetlands, and Lloyd's throbbing skull threatens his next decisive move, leaving the fate of his empire hanging in the wind. The next arc is darker, faster, and hits harder. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and don't miss a second. The estate's water turns lethal. The whole village wilts in days. Suho Kim, a civil engineering student, falls asleep over a fantasy novel and awakens inside its pages. He finds himself in the body of Lloyd Frontera, a lazy noble known for drinking and debt. The Frontera family faces a mountain of arrears and a failing water system. Suho instantly recalls bridge formulas and drainage tricks from his studies. He decides to use that knowledge to redesign the estate's waterworks before the crisis deepens. His goal is to stop the poison spreading and to secure a profit from a new reservoir. The scene sets the stage for a clash between ancient magic and modern engineering. Laconia leans forward, voice cold. "That is right. This is blackmail." He then shouts, "Do you not fear the law? I will formally take you to court before the king." The Viscount threatens legal warfare, hoping the king's courts will stall Lloyd's plans. Lloyd realizes the accusation is a tactic to buy time and drain his coffers.
"That is right. This is blackmail. Do you not fear the law? I will formally take you to court before the king."
Lloyd must decide whether to fight the lawsuit or out-engineer Laconia's trap. Lloyd replies, "But it will take at least 2 years before a verdict." The knight pleads for mercy as Lloyd continues his assault. Lloyd ignores the plea and strikes again. The knight gasps, begging for an end to the blows. Lloyd's attacks rain down, each hit echoing in the hall. Finally, the knight collapses, panting, and declares he is satisfied. He lies still, bruised. Council members murmur, confused by Lloyd's brutality. Lloyd steps back, breathing heavily, proud of his dominance. The knight's wound spreads a dark stain on the floor. A squire rushes to fetch bandages. The Baron's plan to charge fees for a new reservoir stalls as his image darkens. Villagers outside hear the clash and fear for their water supply. Lloyd commands Heyman to fetch fresh water from an upstream spring before the toxin reaches the village. He trusts Heyman's one-shot skill to deliver pure flow. An advisor steps forward, warning that neither Lloyd nor Heyman will rest until the job finishes. He stresses that the solution is only temporary, buying the barony minutes, not years. The advisor's caution highlights the urgency of a permanent fix. Lloyd knows the temporary supply will keep the villagers alive but not solve the root contamination. This acknowledgement pushes him to plan a more durable water system. The Baron now eyes a permanent canal, preparing to outlast the Viscount's poison. Baron Lloyd steps up in the council hall. Emily leans forward, eyes narrowing. She suggests, "Perhaps I could help save that crumbling dye workshop of yours." She offers her engineering tricks to repair the failing dye plant. If she succeeds, the Viscount gains a new revenue stream and the Baron loses leverage. The offer plants a seed of cooperation between the two houses.
"Perhaps I could help save that crumbling dye workshop of yours."
A fragile partnership forms as the water crisis looms. Viscount Laconia's face darkens. He growls, "I knew it. So that was your doing?" He points at the Baron's men, accusing them of contaminating the river. The accusation sparks anger, threatening open conflict. The hidden poison plot threatens the entire valley's water, forcing both sides toward war.
"I knew it. So that was your doing."
The Baron must decide whether to fight back or reveal his own secret. Viscount Laconia snarls, accusing the Baron's men of contaminating the river, and the council erupts into a volatile clash that threatens to ignite open war over the water project. Laconia teeters on the edge of losing his prestige and the vital conduit, while Emily stakes her reputation on a daring engineering fix that could redeem his crumbling dye workshop. The council hangs in uneasy silence, the Baron's forces looming, the water conduit unfinished, and no clear path forward, leaving the estate's fate trembling on a knife edge.
Bet you can't guess what happens next. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and see if you're right.
The Roman aqueduct roars, drowning Li Jaehwan's dye workshop in blinding lime. Li rises in the royal court, proclaiming himself the kingdom's unrivaled estate developer. He slams his arm toward the colossal stone channel he just finished. Noble eyes flick between awe and doubt. The aqueduct promises fresh water for Frontera, yet its shadow already ignites a bitter feud. The hall crackles with anticipation of a coming war.
I will build the greatest estate in this kingdom.
The Viscount of Laconia snarls, accusing Li of spoiling his trade. Viscount Laconia storms forward, accusing Li of dumping waste into the river. The uncertain knight turns to Li, asking, "What part of this puzzle escapes me?" Her query reveals the legal threat remains hazy to the team. Any lingering confusion could undermine their defense against the Viscount's lawsuit.
There is something I do not understand, sir. What is that?
Li steadies himself, ready to outline the fallout of provoking the Viscount. The air tightens as the court watches their exchange. Li concedes their aqueduct provoked the Viscount, sealing a bitter courtroom clash. The knight notes the Viscount's vast capital network, warning that a legal war will drain their coffers. The looming lawsuit threatens to outstrip their finances and stall the project.
Your aqueduct provoked him.
The Viscount rises, still on his knees, and snarls, "If that's the price, I'll sell it 10,000 times." He waves a ledger, flaunting his ability to offload assets endlessly. Then he cuts to the chase. "I don't want apologies. I want the contract." Li sees desperation morph into leverage, a deal that could bind Frontera to Laconia forever.
I'll sell it 10,000 times. I want more than apology.
Li now faces the water supply contract the Viscount pushes. Every clause feels like a chain. The Viscount unfurls parchment across the stone table, bold ink blazing. Water supply contract between the barony of Frontera and Laconia, he proclaims.
A fierce voice erupts, demanding harsher punishment for the Viscount. "We cannot let him slip away with a mere slap," the speaker declares. "If I could trade his blood vessels for gold, I'd tear them out." The crowd recoils, stunned by the brutal threat. The accusation fuels the fire, driving the dispute toward a violent climax.
I can't let him get away with just a slap on the wrist. If I could exchange his blood vessels for money, I'd rip them right out of him.
The royal court summons both parties, and the final verdict hangs in the balance. The air trembles with imminent retribution.
From the riverbank, a massive stone titan erupts, its colossal form crushing the aqueduct scaffolding. Glowing eyes of ancient magic blaze, its thunderous steps shake the ground. Li Jaehwan roars commands, ordering the knight to raise a defensive barrier while the giant hamster scrambles for cover. The titan's arrival stalls the water supply launch, jeopardizing the contract deadline. Losing the aqueduct means losing the profit that could save Frontera. The knight prepares a counterspell as the titan roars. The battle for the estate's future erupts in stone. Bella bursts with news, revealing Count Cream's massive contract just as a colossal stone titan erupts from the riverbank, smashing the aqueduct scaffolding and menacing the entire development. Chaos and opportunity collide in a single heartbeat. Jaehwan feels his dreams of a glittering statue and lucrative water rights slipping away, while his bond with the fierce knight flickers, caught between ambition and looming disaster. Hope teeters on the edge of ruin. The titan's glowing eyes blaze, its thunderous steps echo across the courtyard, and Jaehwan's desperate orders hang in the air, leaving the fate of the statue, the contract, and the kingdom trembling on a stone. The final choice looms amid the storm of stone.
This channel isn't for casual viewers. It's for the ones who actually care about the story. Subscribe to Manwa with Harry.
10 men clash with a blackmailing knight demanding half the reclaimed wetlands. No surrender. Inside Lloyd's body, Suho feels the looming debt mountain pressing down. He recalls civil engineering lessons, surveys the ruined estate, and plots a bold rebuild. The giant hamster watches. The knight draws his blade, and Viscount's agents linger nearby. Everyone knows the waterworks will seal the family's fate. The party must finish Laconia's waterworks or lose everything. The race to Laconia begins. Javier informs the group they have 1 week before departure. The waterworks project in Laconia is slated to finish by then. Lloyd insists on a lean escort, demanding no more than 10 men to cut costs. Lloyd sighs, shoulders slumping, and admits he's no longer sure about his path, his confidence wavering after the recent accusations. The Viscount, still watching, issues a new order. He tells Javier that his duty shifts from merely monitoring Lloyd to actively protecting the heir of the estate. This change raises the stakes, turning Javier into a shield for Lloyd and tightening the political web around the waterworks.
Weld.
The crew moves to the excavation site. They unload a metal barrel, connect hoses, and attach the press to a drilling rig. The drill bores a hole, then the mortar pump pushes the mix down. Steam rises as the mixture hardens, creating a smooth, uniform column. Javier checks the gauge, confirming the pressure stays within limits. The visual confirms the theory works in practice. Next, Lloyd triggers the final compression step. A red warning lamp flashes on the control board as Lloyd pulls the lever. A sharp click echoes, and the press engages. The cylindrical column shortens as the mortar is forced tighter, dust puffing from the top. A massive support beam cracks under the sudden pressure, sending a cascade of timber crashing onto the platform. Crash! Gah! A worker yells as the debris hits the ground. The collapse threatens to halt the waterworks entirely, forcing Lloyd to decide whether to rebuild quickly or risk further sabotage. The noise draws the Viscount's scouts closer, tightening the noose around the project.
Crash Gaia.
Lloyd now must choose a faster construction method before the Viscount's forces close in. The crew rushes to set up the new rapid assembly scaffolding. Lloyd directs the masons, pointing where the prefabricated beams go. Javier carries the giant hamster's gearbox to the site, keeping it steady.
Lloyd looks at Javier, now dressed in the knight's armor, and acknowledges that Javier's efforts made the waterworks possible. He asks if any force is more reliable than a knight who has earned his place through hard work. The question reinforces the need for steadfast allies as the construction nears completion, reminding everyone that loyalty will be tested soon.
But you made it possible and are standing here as a knight. Is there anything more dependable than that?
Soon, the Viscount's sabotage plan reaches the main conduit. Javier fidgets, embarrassed, and admits the conversation feels awkward. He apologizes for sounding cringe and worries his words may have embarrassed the team. Lloyd commands his guard squad to secure the perimeter as Javier, now in knight armor, finally abandons his resentment, sparking a unified charge toward the unfinished waterworks and a push toward the town of Cream. Javier finally earns Lloyd's trust, shedding his awkward doubts, while the crew feels a surge of confidence that their effort could secure the water supply. Yet the threat of the Viscount's agents hangs over them. As the team loads fresh water barrels and sets course for Cream, a guttural growl reverberates from the dark tunnel, hinting unseen forces await, ready to shatter their momentum before the next phase begins.
Things are not what they seem. Subscribe to Manwa with Harry before the big reveal drops.
The final contract detonates a city-wide bomb. In the square, Count Crema corners Javier. Crema pierces Javier's gaze, senses a sliver of truth, and chooses aid over chains. One decision now teeters the metropolis on a knife edge. The courtyard reverberates, clip-clop, as Crema's cavalry storms in. Riders encircle Javier, hooves rattling stone. Their thunderous advance forces Javier to feel Crema's iron grip and the gathering menace of his foes. The clip-clop rhythm intensifies. A guard unsheathes his blade. A sharp kaihak echoes as steel meets wood. The clang warns Javier. Blood is poised to spill. The armored knight lunges, accusing Javier of a strike. Javier retorts, repeats the charge, then insists he felt nothing. The knight shouts that fame breeds fortune, and fortune promises a golden retirement. Javier snaps, calling the knight's mood swings chaotic and accusing him of mixed messages. Their clash hints at deeper mistrust as a harsh winter looms over Crema's city.
Reputation means money. Money means sweet retirement.
Your anger flips to laughter. Have you lost your mind?
The party trudges toward Crema, winter's bite sharpening each step. They finally breach the city's icy gates, breath fogging, resolve intact. Their arrival sets the stage for a decisive audience.
The journey to Crema was not short. Winter draws near. We reach Crema in midwinter.
Count Crema reports Crema's trade plummeting. A giga-titan emerged off Purport's coast years ago, casting a dark shadow over commerce. The looming behemoth threatens to choke Crema's remaining shipments. Crema admits the Titan never struck the city, yet its mere presence spreads terror. No weapon can breach its watery armor, leaving the Navy helpless. Javier recalls ancient texts confirming the monster's invulnerability. Their only hope may lie in unconventional engineering. With the economy shrinking, Crema urges Javier to act. Javier draws his blade anew, vowing to confront the threat. The Count thanks the readers of the Night of Blood and Iron and pledges relentless resistance. Javier's next move targets the Titan's hidden weakness. Javier agrees to a steep price and pledges to construct the statue without raising sea levels, preserving navigation. Crema consents, keeping the defense project on track. The city gains a potential weapon against the Titan.
I will for a high price too. I will also build your statue without disturbing sea channels.
Engineers now draft the mermaid foundation. Javier realizes that stacking a friction pile with box casings can support the underwater statue. He shouts the breakthrough, drops the test rig, and a triumphant whoop echoes as the prototype holds.
A friction pile and box casings. Combine them. It's possible.
Next, they scan the seabed for suitable ground. Javier hesitates, muttering and the knight presses, asking if he is Master Lloyd Frontera and promising something valuable. The offer hangs, hinting at a crucial tool for the sea project.
Are you Master Lloyd Frontera? I have something I want to give you.
Lloyd Frontera appears, clutching the mysterious item that could reshape the construction plan. Javier shouts his breakthrough, stacking a friction pile with box casings, dropping the test rig into the sea, and watching the prototype hold. A triumphant whoop erupts, echoing across the water. Javier revels in the dark thrill of a crewmate's painful slip, confessing his twisted pleasure, which frays his bond with Crema and threatens the contract that fuels his grand vision. A mysterious knight steps forward, offering an unknown tool to Javier, and the promise of a game-changing advantage hangs in the air, leaving the sea project's fate teetering on a razor edge. Quality over quantity, but we give you both. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Lloyd slams his seal onto the contract. 3 hours later, the city shudders. Bold letters explode. Greatest and estate developer. A cloaked figure grips blueprints, eyes scanning a skyline of half-built towers. Debt looms, ruin whispers, and the clock starts ticking. Suddenly, Christine storms the mansion courtyard, eyes fixed on Lloyd. Christine glides into the courtyard, bows, and declares her identity. She reveals she is the Count's daughter, mentions spotting Lloyd wandering the mansion yesterday, and hails him Master Lloyd. Her arrival ties the noble house to his desperate scheme, opening a political backdoor.
I am Christine, Count Cream's daughter. I saw you in the courtyard yesterday.
Lloyd bows low, pleading, "Forgive me, Count. My work consumed me. Your eyes cut like a killer's." He reports, "I secured most supplies, but volcanic ash remains missing." The Count's gaze hardens, noting the critical gap. Without ash, his cement cannot achieve Roman durability.
I gathered most of the materials, but volcanic ash is hard to get.
The Count now explains why volcanic ash mattered. The Count shakes his head. No, volcanic ash is the heart of Roman cement. He extols, "Roman structures endure 2 millennia. Their strength was unmatched." He urges Lloyd to emulate that ancient resilience. Lloyd absorbs the ancient secret, realizing his modern mix must echo centuries-old formula.
Lloyd bangs a metal rod, shouting, "Shake, shake." He snarls at the assistant for interrupting his calculations. The assistant retorts, "Damn it, I'm busy." The clash reverberates through the workshop. Lloyd forces the assistant to load another ratio batch into the crucible, adjusts cooling vents for a faster chill, and watches steam darken the room. He marks the new column on his chart, inching closer to a usable cement. He will soon test the hardened sample on a real wall.
Fantastical creatures circle the fresh cement, pink auras pulsing. Sensing Lloyd's sincere gratitude, they accept him as kin, unlocking a new skill that accelerates curing. This magical aid grants Lloyd a strategic edge over rival developers. With the wall nearing completion, Lloyd must still face Christine's love letter crisis. Lloyd watches his companion's aura flare brighter. The bond meter spikes, loyalty surges, and a new ability icon ignites. He smiles, knowing the boost will speed cement curing dramatically. Now he must decide which creature receives the upgrade. A system pop-up layers. New upgrade for fantastical creatures. Add new skills for RP. Lloyd clicks confirm. An unexpected bonus appears, granting extra points at no cost. Lloyd unleashes Hangul's upgraded volcanic blast, turning fresh cement into solid stone in a flash, reshaping his workshop and redefining his construction speed. Triumph surges as Lloyd's bond spikes, granting unprecedented speed, but raw power threatens to scorch his fragile plans, testing his responsibility. A mysterious system message flashes, promising extra points at no cost. The cement's sudden hardening draws rival developers' eyes, leaving Lloyd's next move shrouded in danger. The world is expanding and you'll want a guide. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. A volcano erupts, shattering his tower. Minutes tick as he scrambles to save his empire. Han-Jun awakens in a realm where land equals power. He slams modern real estate tactics onto the ancient soil, sketching grand estates in a heartbeat. He crowns himself the greatest estate developer. First strike, he claims a lush valley, a move that rattles the noble hierarchy. Lord Guan watches the fledgling tower climb, his eyes narrowed with doubt. In the bustling trade city of Cream, Han-Jun crosses paths with Mire, a brilliant architect. They sketch a sprawling market district, weaving roads and plazas to ignite commerce. Merchants flood in, filling streets with shops and warehouses. The crew whispers as they raise a colossal diaper-shaped filter above the site. 5 layers of fine mesh cascade over its edge, each snagging ash specks. The contraption promises purer cement and a safer workplace. Success here will clear the path for the volcanic blast. Jinwoo yanks the lever, shouting, "Fire the volcanic blast!" A thunderous boom erupts, hurling molten ash skyward. The crew hollers, "Again! It's going to blow!" They brace for a second eruption, betting it will fully cure the cement. The blast catches Lord Guan's eye, spotlighting their sea platform. The sight, proclaiming Han-Jun a genius beyond any engineer, his tactics border on summoning beasts. A laborer warns Javier, hammering the support posts delays wages, leaving families in debt to the Baron. He adds that fainting from stress would sadden the Baron and even ail the Baroness. The confession lays bare the financial and health pressures driving the crew. Javier feels the crushing weight of the Baron's expectations. A desperate villager pleads with Javier, Sir Knight, shield my family, please. A hammer's thunderous strike punctuates the request, echoing urgency. Their hope hinges on Javier's protection, while the clang drives the work onward. The crew now prepares a new steel frame apparatus. After a brief briefing with Javier, the planner unveils the Bangul steel dung launcher, set to raise the steel frame. Workers murmur anxiously as the platform climbs. One grumbles, "Ugh, this is so uncomfortable," lamenting cramped scaffolds and the searing heat of curing cement. Their discontent threatens morale and the deadline.
Ugh, this is so uncomfortable.
Their complaints wane as the final mermaid statue preparation looms. Mire probes Han Jun about his struggle with the heavy noble garb, noting his feigned inexperience. Han Jun stammers, confessing it's been ages and that the fabric feels like a blade. The exchange reveals his discomfort and hints at his keen mind navigating the family debt.
How do you put up with these clothes?
Though it's been a while, cursed it's sharp.
As the water recedes, a towering marble mermaid statue emerges atop the platform, sunlight dancing on its polished form. The crew steps back, awestruck by the illusion of a creature hovering at high tide. The statue acts as a beacon, luring trade ships to swell the estate's revenue. Yet, the crew soon detects movement beneath the waves. A sleek mermaid surges from the depths, her tail flicking water. Javier yells a warning, pointing her out. The mermaid locks eyes with Han Jun, then snaps a clawed hand toward the platform. Her magical aura threatens to destabilize the freshly built structure. The mermaid snarls, fangs bared, dark aura flaring. Han Jun yanks the giant dung launcher lever, hurling a barrel that crashes into the sea, erupting ash and unveiling a towering marble mermaid statue poised on the platform. Javier watches the real mermaid breach the surface, his heart racing as its clawed hand shatters the ash cement, compelling him to risk everything to steady the platform and shield his comrades. The mermaid lunges again, dark aura swelling. While the platform trembles under gusting wind, the crew teetering on a collapsing deck, the estate's fate hanging in the storm. Blood is thicker than water, but revenge is sweeter. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. He sketches skylines in minutes. Now his boldest venture teeters on the brink. Suho awakens trapped in Lloyd Frontera's aristocratic shell, a debt-laden noble on the edge. He surveys the manor. Rotting walls, unpaid taxes, echoing emptiness. His civil engineer brain snaps into gear, drafting fresh foundations and profit plans. He swears to reshape ruin into a thriving estate. The city's fate hinges on his first stone. Above, the Giga Titan looms, a silent threat on the horizon. A sudden whoosh shreds the harbor as the floating statue ship unfurls its massive sails. Crew chatter erupts across the deck. Javier bellows orders, demanding the helm turn hard. Sir Genova claws his sword tighter, eyes scanning the rolling tide. Lloyd turns to Sir Genova. "Do you sense anything odd beyond the horizon?" Sir Genova bows. "Yes, my lord. The waters, hunting for clues to the Giga Titan's approach." Their dialogue underscores the desperate need for intel before the monster strikes. Any hint could tip the balance. Meanwhile, the lookout reports a dark shape cutting through the sea faster than any wind. Sir Genova replies, "Nothing, my lord. No abnormal readings ripple through the water." The silence blinds the crew to the Titan's motives. Without warning, their defenses falter. Lloyd snarls, ordering the anchors to drop as the Giga Titan shadows the hull. The anchor rope snaps, unleashing a wave that drenches the deck. Heyman yells, "We need the emergency lever," pointing to the control hatch housing the ship's failsafe. Lloyd darts across the slick planks, slipping but regaining balance. Their frantic hunt for the lever could fire a shield before the Titan's hull collides. A metallic crunch looms in the next scene. A massive metal bar buckles under the Titan's weight, emitting a deafening crunch. The blow shatters a wooden crate, spilling a dark, ink-like sludge across the deck. Sir Genova lunges, brandishing his newly mastered blade, targeting the Titan's exposed flank. The oily splatter reveals a vulnerable spot in the armor, Yet the crew still craves a magical surge. Sir Genova channels mana. A blinding beam erupts with a sharp W0000SH. The blast rips through the Titan's joint. The beast shudders, a thunderous slam, as its leg crashes into the water. Debris erupts, clearing the harbor briefly. The crew must rush to repair the ship before the Titan rises again. Lloyd readies his next invention as the monster stirs. The massive Titan looms, its shadow swallowing the floating statue ship. The vessel tilts as the creature's weight shifts. Lloyd darts across the deck, engineering instincts blazing. He snatches the emergency grip lever beside the main engine, feeling the metal strain under his grip. He yanks it, rerouting steam pressure to the stabilizers.
A crew member yells, "Master Lloyd!" The Giga Titan rushes toward the city. "We must stop it." Lloyd whirls toward the voice, eyes widening at the Titan's looming silhouette. He snatches a portable wrench, begins retrofitting a nearby steam pump into a makeshift repulsor. The team scrambles, assembling the device as the Titan's massive form looms ever closer. Their rapid work could buy the city precious seconds. Lloyd races toward the floating statue ship, desperate to buy the harbor more time.
Lloyd hoists the massive iron plate, slamming it into the Giga Titan's exposed leg. The cannon's glowing barrel erupts a mana-charged blast, searing the Titan's core, cracking stone, and igniting chaotic sparks. Crew members watch helplessly as Heyman's frantic hamster companion bursts through crates, while Lloyd feels the city's fate bearing down on his shoulders, fearing the Titan's march will crush everything. Sir Genova points toward the far horizon, shouting that the Titan advances elsewhere, and Lloyd's furious accusation spirals into chaos, leaving the crew uncertain if they can halt the monster before it engulfs the metropolis.
Every week there's a new chapter. Every week people miss it without the subscription. Don't be one of them. Manwa with Harry.
Lord Frontera's betrayal cracks the city's heart as massive storm-treaded beasts surge forward. A hollow banner blazes, "Greatest estate developer," across the heavens, a false promise that fuels desperate hope. Citizens clutch at the glowing title, praying it will bring rescue. The ocean bellows, and the towering storm monster erupts from the froth, its eyes blazing with fury. A frantic cry shatters the dock as icy water engulfs the panicked crowd. Lord Frontera darts to the shoreline. Barked orders fire men into the churning tide to haul survivors to safety. The storm stomp wave slams the pier, splintering wood into jagged shards. Screams rise, the cold gnawing at every throat. The hero teeters between relentless rescue and a desperate retreat. A frantic voice yells, "Don't cling to self-righteousness. Death waits if you turn back." Another shouts, "Leap!" and the hero barrels forward, clutching his improvised platform.
Hey, stop trying to be righteous. You'll die if you go back.
Leap!
Lord Frontera plunges into the swirling sea, mana sparking around him. He slams into the icy water, a towering splash erupting around him. Mana erupts from his device, forging a searing blast that slams the sea monster. The creature reels, granting precious seconds for the trapped civilians. Lord Frontera rockets from the crashing waves, his mana device whistling a sharp swoosh through the air. A massive wolf-like beast crashes onto the deck, crushing railings under its weight. The platform shudders, sending crew members screaming into the air. The creature arches, poised to strike again. The damage threatens to spill more civilians into the raging sea. The crew scrambles to seal the breach before the tide swallows them. A colossal SP erupts from the depths, its head snapping upward. It hisses, eyes locking onto the survivors. Its venomous fangs promise instant paralysis. The crew darts to evade its strike. Lord Frontera primes a mana blast, aiming to cleave the serpent. Lord Frontera channels mana, firing a blade-shaped blast at the ASP. The energy slams into the scaled hide, ricocheting uselessly.
The sea monster crashes with a final thud, sinking into the abyss. Survivors gasp, while Din Javier's approval tickles upward as morale rebounds. The crew's cash flow steadies, rescuing the project's revenue stream. Yet Lord Frontera watches, poised to judge the hero's deeds. Lee Junwoo snatches a steel cable, loops it around the broken platform, and yanks it taut. The structure steadies, halting its sway in the storm-tossed sea. He steps back, checks the knot, and shouts the connection is secure. This prevents the platform from sinking,
buying precious time for the rescue crew and safeguarding the construction revenue.
Yes, I've tied it with the cable.
Park Min-kyu shouts, urging everyone to retreat, chanting Hangul, Hangul, as a rallying cry. He warns that prolonged delays will stall construction fee payments. His warning adds pressure to finish swiftly. Their next move must confront the monster's onslaught. Lee Junwoo points his weapon at the beast, snarling, "You're dead meat, you cursed oversized lobster." The insult fuels his fury. The monster reels, proving it can be challenged.
"You're dead meat, you cursed oversized lobster."
The creature roars louder, gathering a volcanic blast. The sea monster erupts a volcanic blast, fire spewing across the water. The wave crashes, hurling debris toward the survivors. Cries of Ger, Ah, and Ag echo as they dive for cover. The Haman hammer sputters, its glowing runes flickering. Lee Junwoo drives the hammer down. It smashes the monster's shell with a resonant thud, cracking the armor. The crew seizes the pause to finish the temporary piers, buying the city crucial time to keep revenue flowing. The mayor watches the damage from his balcony. Kang Song-woo points at the flooded dock, shouting, "How dare you mess with my cash flow?" He blames Lee Junwoo for endangering the city's revenue. The accusation fuels a tense standoff, forcing Junwoo to safeguard both people and profits.
How dare you mess with my cash flow?
The monster's next strike threatens the unfinished piers. Lee Junwoo hammers the erupting sea monster with the rune-etched Haman hammer, shattering its armored shell as a blinding energy spear pierces its eyes, forcing the beast to roar in agony. The crew watches, hearts pounding, as Junwoo's daring strike salvages the dock's cargo and shields the city's revenue, while Kang Song-woo's accusation threatens to bankrupt their fragile alliance. Just as the temporary piers rise, the monster's wounded eye flickers with a dark, retaliatory pulse, hinting at a hidden power that could drown the survivors before sunrise.
This is where the real fans gather. Subscribe to Manwa with Harry and find your people.
The final tower looms like a steel dagger, ready to crush the city in seconds. Lee Junwoo stands on the unfinished spire, blueprints clenched. He shouts that the tower will dominate the skyline. Workers scramble, slamming the last steel beams into place. Citizens watch the massive crane swing, hearts pounding with fear of collapse. The tower's shadow spreads over the market district, whispering wealth and ruin. Junwoo's gamble could reshape the nation or bury it under rubble. Spotting a weak point, he sparks a fierce blaze. Lee Junwoo spots an empty riverbank plot and roars, "Now's my chance!" He commands crews to light a foundation fire, bright sparks dancing over the water. The beast thrashes, a wave of chaotic mana slamming the crew. Javier staggers, footing lost. Master Lloyd yells, "You've lost control!" as Javier scrambles upright. The horn pulses, threatening another surge. Junwoo shouts, "Cut the horn! Now!" Kim Min-ji steadies the hydraulic claw, maintaining pressure on the cracked section. Park Hyun redirects water to cool the area. The team regains composure, focusing on the exposed core. Mana leaks from the fractured edge like a faucet. With the horn's integrity broken, the beast's power wanes.
Horn. It's horn. Cut off its horn, man.
The beast's roar fades as its energy drains. The beast stumbles, its massive leg dragging. The engineers finish laying mana circles around the horn. A low hum rises as the energy stabilizes. The strange chant for 22 are 22 echoes from the device, marking activation of the high-frequency field. Javier checks pressure gauges, confirming peak output. The team holds their breath, awaiting the first cut. Their setup is ready, but the horn's resistance may still surprise them. The high-frequency mana chainsaw sparks to life. Master Lloyd shouts, "It's working! A high-frequency mana chainsaw. I thought it was just a theory." He glances at Javier, adds, The chainsaw slices through the hollow conduit. Light bursts from the cut, shattering the horn. The beast collapses, its massive leg crashing into the earth. Dust clouds the field as the creature crashes down. The crew steps back, breathing hard. With the monster dead, the plot of land clears. They can now lay foundations for the new estate. Rival developer Choi Sang-ho watches from a distance, ready to contest. The horn's collapse spews a plume of glowing gas from the beast's wound. The residue spreads across the cleared field, coating the ground in shimmering haze. Javier shouts that the volatile mana could ignite at any spark. Master Lloyd orders steel plates and mana runes to erect containment barriers. The mana chainsaw rips through the horn's hollow conduit, detonating a massive blast that splinters the beast's leg and sends the creature crashing to the earth. Amid the chaos, a gigantic hamster barrels forward, hoisting a massive stone slab to form a crude shield. Master Lloyd's triumphant shout revitalizes the crew, keeping the construction schedule alive. Yet the volatile mana residue gas spreads like glittering poison, seeping into every corner and threatening their lives and the hard-won progress. The shimmering haze drifts toward the unfinished tower, the hamster's makeshift barrier trembling under its weight. The crew watches the beast's wounded maw pulse, a warning of a second, deadlier eruption that could obliterate everything.
Trust no one. Subscribe to Manwa with Harry to see who turns next.